For 18 years, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been like a fantastical tower of endless possibilities. Each work is a unique cornerstone. Today, we bring you Thor 2, The Dark World. The universe's strings are playing an epic tune as Thor wields his hammer across the 9 realms. A millennia-spanning dark plot is devouring the stars, using cosmic-level effects and the weight of Norse mythology to play the ultimate symphony of light and dark. Symphony. He casually throws a bottle from high up, and the next second, it vanishes into thin air, leaving everyone stunned. Then it reappears above and falls again, endlessly looping. It's unbelievable. The heroine Jane, skeptical, picks up a soda can and throws it down, but strangely, it doesn't reappear. A man nearby wants to try and throws his car keys down, realizing he'll need a new set. At this moment, Jane notices the instrument showing anomalies, with values continuously rising. The last time this happened was when Thor first arrived on Earth. Following the signal from the instrument, Jane reaches a corridor where a sudden gust of wind pulls her into another space. Before her is a strange giant stone with faint red light seeping through its cracks. To investigate, Jane reaches in, and a mysterious force instantly enters her body, causing her to faint. Meanwhile, elsewhere, because Thor destroyed the Bifrost to stop Loki at the end of Thor 1, the 9 realms are in chaos. To restore peace, Thor leads the gods in a fierce battle against the rebels. The rebel leader, the Stone Man, aggressively attacks, saying, "I accept your surrender." Seeing this, everyone drops their weapons and surrenders. After a great victory, Thor returns to Asgard, only to learn from Heimdall that something serious has happened to Jane on Earth. At this moment, Jane wakes from her coma. Back in reality, Dr. Daisy said he was missing for 5 hours. Jane was skeptical, but then they saw something stranger. It was pouring, yet they stayed dry. Thor had come to Earth. When they met, Jane slapped him hard, thinking she was dreaming. Thor was stunned. After his sincere explanation, Jane forgave him. Then, Phobler arrived, accusing them of trespassing and tried to take them away. But Phobler was knocked back. Thor realized Jane's condition was serious and summoned the Bifrost to take her to Asgard. After the Asgardian healers examined her, they were at a loss. Odin appeared, scolding Thor for bringing a mortal. Thor explained Jane had a mysterious power. Odin didn't want to deal with it and ordered soldiers to send Jane back. But as soon as they touched her, they were blown away. Odin checked and found it was the Aether particles. Before the universe, Dark Elf Malekith ruled. He created a weapon with dark power, the Aether in Jane. Malekith wanted to use it to darken the universe. Thor's grandfather led an army, defeated Malekith, and sealed the Aether. Now it's back, meaning the Dark Elf has awakened. To prevent its theft, Odin decided Jane should stay in Asgard. Meanwhile, Malekith began to act. Malekith sent his last cursed warrior to disguise as a prisoner in Asgard's dungeon, planning an attack to reclaim the Aether. Also in the dungeon was Loki, the god of mischief. After healing by the Avengers, Thor brought him back to Asgard for trial. Despite Loki's sins, Odin spared him from death, sentencing him to light imprisonment. At this moment, the cursed warrior in the dungeon began his move. He crushed a black bottle and instantly, with one punch, he destroyed the barrier, easily dealt with the guards, and released all the prisoners to create chaos. When he reached Loki, Loki surprisingly revealed Odin's temple location. Thor rushed over immediately upon hearing the news. Under Thor's lead, these small fry were quickly dealt with. Meanwhile, Heimdall noticed the anomaly. He sprinted along the bridge, suddenly pulling out a dagger and leaping forward. A giant spaceship revealed itself. Heimdall destroyed the ship, but as he turned, countless ships swarmed in, heading for the temple. The turrets opened fire, but there were too many ships. Heimdall's ship activated the temple's defense system, and a barrier surrounded the temple. But then, the cursed warrior destroyed the barrier system. The Dark Army broke into the temple, threw a spatial grenade, and the guards turned to ashes. Meanwhile, Malekith found the Queen and Jane. The Queen immediately fought the opponent. As Asgard's queen, her skills were formidable. Even Malekith, the Dark Elf King, was no match. But then, the cursed warrior appeared. In front of this powerful warrior, the queen had no power to fight back. Malekith approached Jane, ready to reclaim the Aether, but Jane was just an illusion. An enraged Malekith ordered the cursed warrior to stab the mother of the gods. Thor arrived a step too late. He angrily repelled the enemies, but the queen had already lost her breath. People say the most heartbroken person after the mother of the god's death must be Thor, but I believe it's Odin's younger son, Loki. When Thor found Loki in the cell, although Loki acted indifferent, Thor saw through him. After the illusion faded, Loki appeared desolate. Although he was just Odin's adopted son and not recognized by Odin, the mother of the gods had always loved him dearly. Her love was deeply engraved in Loki's heart. Upon learning of his mother's murder, Loki was furious but, being imprisoned, could only grieve silently. Now, Thor has come to give him a chance. A chance for redemption. Since Asgard was attacked by the Dark Elves, it suffered heavy losses. Not only did it lose the mother of the gods, but Asgard's defense system was also damaged. This means the temple lost its protection. If the Dark Elves attack again, it will be catastrophic. Thor approached Odin, hoping Odin would agree to use Jane as bait and attack the Dark Elves with the other gods. They planned to eliminate them when Malekith absorbed the ether particles from Jane. However, Odin thought it was too risky and refused. He believed that as long as the ether particles were in his hands, the enemy would return eventually. Odin then ordered the Rainbow Bridge closed, cutting off Thor's retreat. Now, the only way to leave Asgard is through a secret path known only to Loki. To avenge their mother, the brothers agreed to work together. Loki, now free, was in high spirits and started role-playing with Thor. He turned into a guard, then turned Thor into a Valkyrie, even impersonating Captain America. But something felt off. Thor couldn't believe Loki was so talkative, going on and on. To keep Loki in line, Thor gave him a limited edition bracelet. With their teammates covered, they escaped Asgard with Jane. They successfully reached the Dark Realm. Malekith and his followers were ready to fight. Thor freed Loki from his handcuffs, but Loki immediately betrayed him, stabbing him. Thor summoned his hammer, but Loki cut off his arm. Malekith was stunned by the situation. Loki casually handed over Jane and said his reward was simple. He wanted to see Asgard in ashes. Seeing the gift, Malekith believed him and began absorbing the ether particles from Jane. Once the particles were fully extracted, it turned out this was all part of the brothers' plan. Thor summoned Mjolnir and unleashed a powerful thunderbolt at the ether particles. But they underestimated the ether's power. After a violent explosion, the scattered fragments reassembled. Malekith seized the opportunity to absorb all the ether particles into his body and then left, leaving his soldiers to deal with Thor. Thor easily defeated them with his hammer. Seeing Malekith about to escape on a ship, Thor quickly swung Mjolnir and chased after him. The result was that the cursed warrior slapped Thor away with one blow. Then, the cursed warrior charged. At Thor aggressively and gave him a brutal beating. Seeing the situation was dire, Thor quickly summoned his hammer, but the cursed warrior easily knocked it away. This was unplayable. The opponent was not only tough but also a powerful damage dealer. After a few rounds, Thor was beaten with no strength to fight back. In a moment of crisis, Loki stabbed her from behind with a sword. But this cursed warrior was too monstrous, determined to take someone down with her. Meanwhile, Loki, unnoticed, had already activated the spatial safeguard on his body. The cursed warrior was completely obliterated, but Loki was also fatally wounded. Thor watched his brother, whom he had known since childhood, die in front of him and was overwhelmed with grief. But he knew there were more important things to do. He had to stop Malekith's plan immediately. Then, Thor and Jane searched for an exit and ended up in a cave. They found a ringing phone, which meant Earth and the Dark World were connected. They even found the soda can and car keys with money they had left behind. So, they continued through the cave and actually returned to Earth. They quickly found Darcy and Dr. Eric to discuss a plan. At this time, Malekith had absorbed the ether particles. He only needed to wait for the 9 realms to align to unleash the ether particles, plunging the universe back into darkness. Fortunately, Dr. Eric, who had long studied celestial bodies, found clues from ancient texts and calculated a convergence point on the map, which was Greenwich. Meanwhile, Malekith had arrived there. Suddenly, huge waves rose on the sea, revealing Malekith's ship. Malekith and his dark army emerged, ready to execute his plan when Thor descended from the sky just in time. A great battle was inevitable. Malekith used the power of the ether particles to instantly knock Thor down, but this level of power, for Thor, it was just a scratch. Malekith prepared a powerful strike, but Thor threw his hammer and sent him flying miles away. Then, Thor quickly swung his hammer, unleashing a mighty thunder. Meanwhile, on the other side, they had set up a teleportation device, and the celestial alignment would reach its peak in 7 minutes. When the alien soldiers entered their trap, Jane immediately flipped the switch, teleporting the enemies to another dimension. Thor and Malekith were fighting fiercely, both using all their strength, evenly matched. As they fought, they were suddenly teleported to the Dark World. In no time, they were teleported to Earth, disappearing again before they could land. They kept jumping between dimensions, and their fight wore out the hammer. They ended up in the Frost Kingdom, bringing the Frost Beast to Earth. The beast unceremoniously devoured the Dark Soldiers, while Thor was teleported to a subway station. Without his hammer, Thor had to take the subway back. Meanwhile, the Celestial Ladder had completed its alignment, and it was the perfect moment. He had waited for this chance for thousands of years. He raised his hands, releasing the ether particles, which began to flow into various realms. Thor arrived, but it seemed too late. To stop Malekith, Thor grabbed the teleportation device from Dr. Eric Selvig and charged into the ether storm. He threw the device at Malekith, and Jane's instruments reacted, flipping the switch. Malekith's arm was instantly disabled. Thor quickly threw the device again, hitting Malekith's left hand. In just a few seconds, both hands were disabled. Enraged, Malekith intensified the ether's energy. Thor summoned his hammer and charged at him. With Jane's help, they successfully sent Malekith's ship back to the Dark World. Before he could get up, his own ship crashed down on him. This is it. The Dark Overlord of a generation was killed by his own spaceship. Meanwhile, Earth's crisis is finally resolved. Thor returns to Asgard to apologize to Odin. Odin doesn't blame him and even plans to pass the throne to him. But Thor says, "I can't take the throne. I just want to live with the one I love." Surprisingly, Odin agrees. After Thor leaves, it turns out Odin was actually Loki in disguise. Loki didn't die after all. Thor would be furious if he knew, as Loki has tricked him into shedding many tears. Perhaps that's why Loki has gained a huge fan following. In the end credits, Odin instructs the Valkyrie to deliver the ether to the Collector and ensure its safekeeping. Does anyone know why it needs to be given to the Collector? Asgard's remnants light up Earth's dawn. No one expected that in the shadows of the New York battle, a deadlier winter lurks. Hydra's mechanical arm tears through peace. Captain America's shield was about to clash under winter's cold black. Next stop, under the Washington Monument's shadow. Don't miss out. Follow the editor. You step into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.